Just this morning, we're learning that Centene, it's another major insurer, announced that it's not going to do its in-person investors meeting here in New York City. Instead, they're going to move it virtually. All of this to protect their employees and executives. So again, we've got heightened alert, not just in corporate America, but among these insurance companies.
This ripple effect across the country. Morgan, thank you.
Yeah, a time frame that doctors don't determine either. The insurance would determine it. But that's just how it is in America. That's my point. That's what's so frustrating about it. That is what's so frustrating about this process. And not only that, but also they used AI. United Healthcare started using AI to deny claims, and it skyrocketed the number of denials that they were engaging in. And for the record, even the deny, depose, defend book that everyone is pointing to, like, that book itself is not exactly a great book either. Like, that's a pro healthcare insurance book. But it's so bad. Healthcare in this country is so bad that they even got capitalists who are pro healthcare insurance that, you know, are criticizing it. Okay. United CEO Andrew Whitty gave an address to the company today, leaked to me, telling employees we guard against unnecessary care and to tune out the critical noise.
Has been by the amount of negative and in many cases vitriolic media and commentary that has been produced over the last few days, particularly in the social media environment. And I want to reassure you of a few things. Firstly, we are going to continue to make sure that we put patients, consumers, and members first, as we always have done. The mission of this company is truly to make sure that we help the system improve by helping the experience for individuals get better and better. There was nobody who did more to try and advance that mission than Brian Thompson. And there are very few people in the history of the US healthcare industry who had a bigger positive effect on American healthcare than Brian. And we are going to make sure that we not only acknowledge and honor that legacy of Brian, but we will continue it. Our role is a critical role, and we make sure that care is safe, appropriate, and is delivered when people need it. And we guard against the pressures that exist for unsafe care or for unnecessary care to be delivered in a way which makes the whole system too complex and ultimately unsustainable. So we're going to continue to make that case. We will continue to do the work we do. And I have never been more proud of this company and our colleagues and what this company does on behalf of people in need across the country. I encourage you to tune out that critical noise.
Yeah, they're basically changing. They're basically like hiding the board of executives and their names and stuff like that. People have been trying to get their Wikipedia pages deleted. Okay, and it's really interesting that they're this worried. I mean, I guess it's not that crazy to be afraid in this time, but legally, isn't it all public? It's all public information. Yeah, but they could potentially change the laws. I mean, these are very wealthy people. These are very, very wealthy people. These are the people who have a lot of motion. These are the people who can change laws and rules to benefit them and offer themselves privacy. You have to understand, every day in this country, we are a uniquely violent nation, okay? We have a lot of guns in this country. We have an arsenal of weapons readily available for all. And every single day, there is another mass shooting that takes place. And it is so commonplace. This kind of violence is so commonplace in this country that it doesn't even meet the standard of like regular news coverage. This, on the other hand, has made news coverage. And the reason for why it has made news coverage is because this person was acting out the desires, I think, and the resentment that many Americans feel. Okay, I think that's what it is. That's why a lot of people are terrified, because in the aftermath of the shooting, people were like, "Oh man, you really can't even be safe on these streets. The shooter is still at large." And I was like, I'm not a fucking healthcare CEO. What do you mean? I don't think this guy is interested in killing other people, you know, or at least random people. I'm not afraid, you know. I am more afraid of random cops. Straight up. Got a push notification to exercise caution because the United Healthcare shooter is still at large. I personally do not feel like I am on the shooter's radar because I am not the CEO of a highly divisive multi-billion-dollar insurance company. Yeah. Warning me about a guy who's out there killing billionaires, like warning a dog about phishing scams. So this is like the Chappelle bit about the LAPD offering protection to him because he was mentioned in Dorner's manifesto. I am not the one who needs protection. Yeah, exactly. So I think this is unique. The commentary that I made, the commentary that I had in the aftermath of the Trump shooting, the first one, is quite similar to this instance, Because in America, in the United States of America, normally when people experience some kind of anger or are having like a mental health episode or something, they often will go and kill the least protected, most marginalized targets. They just go to their school, right? And then they shoot up like a bunch of children or their teachers or something. It's rarely ever directed at someone in a position of power. And that is the norm. And as long as that is the norm, we will never get any changes on gun laws. We will never get any changes that actually protect the average Americans. We're actually used to the average American being slaughtered, butchered, senselessly. But this was a directional act of violence. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people in positions of power are fearful. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people are looking at the media coverage over it and going, I don't feel this way. But one thing that has been quite interesting, is seeing conservatives also exhibiting the same anger that you normally would hear from leftists online, right? Like the reception of this story has been quite interesting. Americans from all different walks of life, from all different kinds of backgrounds, different political ideologies that have all been fucked over directly by the privatized for-profit healthcare structure in this country, also carry the same resentment that the shooter had. And that's precisely the reason why, while right-wingers and mainstream media, both liberals and conservative alike, are trying to maintain this civility aesthetic to say, people are celebrating this, like this is crazy. Normal conservatives, on the other hand, are like, of course people are celebrating this. The fuck are you talking about? Look, people are naturally going to celebrate. This is on r/conservative. This man's death is an allegory for the failure of privatized healthcare as a whole. We can all relate. Prescriptions we can't afford. People we know who have been turned down. Healthcare or treatment due to insurance reasons. I'm a Republican and I'm not going to defend the failure of privatized healthcare. It's an absolute tragedy that people who don't have access to healthcare. I know that sounds like a lib talking point, but this is America. Healthcare should be just as great as the rest of our country. Complicit for over 7 million deaths, 1/3 claim denial rate, UHC being investigated for using algorithms that automatically deny claims. UHC has some of the highest healthcare premiums and costs. All the while, he was a CEO and making over $10 million a year. Also, he was being investigated for fraud, money laundering. This man did not have clean hands. I'm not justifying murder, just stating facts. And in America, healthcare costs are still higher than many countries around the world while providing subpar service compared to said countries. This act of violence, okay, in and of itself, is ripping through the social fabric, right? Because this is vigilante justice, all right? And that's in almost every single circumstance. I wouldn't say unacceptable in every single circumstance, but like that is something that should not exist in a healthy society. But we are not living in a healthy society. And the very fact that people are also celebrating this vigilante justice means that there is like very deep-seated and valid resentment that people feel towards these institutions. Understandably.